When I was growing up, Generations was the show. Everyone I knew tuned in religiously to catch the latest drama in the lives of the Moroka, Molefe, and Motene families. What made the series so captivating, though, wasn't just the family squabbles or boardroom battles. It was the brave depiction of something many in South Africa didn't see in real life: black men loving each other. The show was a trailblazer, breaking down barriers and showing audiences something they never knew they needed to see. For me, Senzo and Jason's relationship was a revelation. It challenged the narrow views of love and masculinity that I grew up with. But as I grew older, I realized that this kind of representation was still rare in South African media. Despite the country's increasing acceptance, there's a lack of stories that explore healthy and honest LGBTQ+ relationships. It's like we've taken a step back, forgetting the progress generations made. As a viewer and a part of this community, I can't help but feel disappointed. I'm left longing for more stories like Senzo and Jason's, but this time, without the secrets, the business schemes, or any other obstacle that gets in the way of love. I want a story that treats LGBTQ+ love with the same respect, complexity, and nuance that heterosexual love is afforded. And I'm not just speaking for myself. Imagine the power of these stories for the next generation. Think of all the young queer kids in South Africa looking for someone they can see themselves in on screen. This is why we need more LGBTQ+ narratives on our screens. Stories that don't shy away from the struggles, but also celebrate the joy, the passion, and the tenderness of queer love. It's time for South African media to be as bold and courageous as Senzo and Jason were, to show us the full spectrum of love, regardless of race, gender, or sexual orientation. And who knows, maybe a new generation of queer South Africans will find their own Senzo and Jason, and they won't have to wait for a TV show to see themselves reflected in the world. So, here's my plea to South African storytellers. Don't let the fire of representation die out. Don't just settle for tokenism or one-dimensional characters. Give us stories that honor the full richness and complexity of LGBTQ+ life. Give us love that transcends boundaries, stories that heal, and characters that inspire. For a community that has been so often silenced, to see ourselves on screen in all our messy, beautiful, vibrant glory, well, that would be a true act of love. And so, as we look to the future, let's remember the past. Let's remember the impact generations had and strive to go beyond it. Let's tell stories that affirm the humanity of every single person. And let's dare to love, fully, unapologetically, and without fear. Because as Senzo and Jason taught us all those years ago, love is universal, and it's always worth fighting for. And with that, my friends, I'll end my story here.
I Am Human 2, The Love Games. Book 1, On M, Part 1, Rain Again, about the book. Let me tell you a story. Zakile and Babalo were two boys who seemed destined to be enemies. No one could imagine that their rivalry would one day turn into friendship, and eventually into something much deeper. As their classmates and teachers watched them fight and bicker, they never dreamed that these two foes would become soulmates. Their love story is a tale of how the unlikeliest of people can become bonded by something stronger than hate. If you want to read a story about how the unlikeliest of friendships can become the strongest of loves, then you'll want to pick up a copy of I Am Human 2, Rain Again. This story is sure to tug at your heartstrings and make you believe in the power of love. Prologue. Mama! The young child screamed as he saw the blood pouring from his mother's torn head. He tried to shake her again, but as the first and last 20 times he'd tried, she did not wake up. It wasn't until when his uncle went to drag him from the bloody mess that he stopped shaking the corpse of his dead mother. He still screamed her name, trying to break loose of his uncle's iron grip hold, but he wouldn't let him go. Just continued to walk with him on his shoulder until they had left the place he had called home for all of his life. Not just his home, but also his lifeless, cold, dead mother. Poor boy. The neighbors started to gossip. Poor? A big fat woman exclaimed, her hands on her hips, her face indifferent. His mother deserved what she got. Loose woman. A kind-looking man shook his head, who was only there because his wife had forced him to go see what had happened in the empty household. "This is what I call inhumanity," he sighed, looking at the sky. "Then again, I think we all have lost the true meaning of what being human is. Oh, how I wished they had spared that young boy from this pain and torment he is about to experience now."